Hi.
Hi.
Ready?
Yep, here we go.
All right. Welcome back. Thank you, everyone, for being patient with us and tuning in for another episode of Midwest Married. We had a little hiatus.
Yeah.
Break.
You know, it kind of was a well-needed hiatus. We live in northern Minnesota. It is currently just April. And that means that through February, March, etc., beforehand, we were shoveling snow out of the house that we were building because our house did not have a roof. And so we got to a point where it snowed for the bajillionth time. And I was like, can we please get a roof on this place? Because I am really tired of shoveling snow.
Yeah, it's
out
super
of this
fun.
House.
Yep.
So we put the podcast on a little bit of a pause to focus on the roof and the house. And I'm happy to say that we have most of a roof.
The house portion does have
Yes.
all of a roof.
Yes.
And it is only the garage portion, which will be wrapping up the
This
week of
Next week?
next week. So the week of
Sometime soon.
the 9th, the
Yeah.
8th.
Here is
Yeah.
a very important life lesson. If you're doing any sort of carpentry stuff yourself and you say, this is going to take me like, one day, I want you to be sure to either
Know what
triple
you're doing?
that or 5 times that. Because inevitably something will happen where it'll take you 10 times longer. So yes, building our house, it's been a good experience overall. It's just something that we have a lot to learn. So
Yeah.
that's what's
A
going
little stressful,
on
a
with
little fun. We had a relative that had a stroke scare. So
Yes.
all was well, though.
that. Yes, all is well. We thought she was having a stroke, but we brought her in and everything looked good. They admitted her, though, because they didn't know exactly what was going on. So that was just also stressful. And then, making sure that she's doing okay now that she's back at home. That took up a lot of time. And then you and the kids got the stomach flu.
Yeah, that was fun, too.
Somehow
Love being sick.
I have evaded it. I have remained healthy this whole time, so that's great. Because somebody needed to be able to take care of you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. But yes, that's what we've been up to. There's our life update. We've
Super
been
exciting.
Yeah, putting a roof on a house, dealing with health stuff,
Falling off ladders.
Yeah, we talked about that, though. The kids stuff, though, that's kind of slowed down a little bit. Hockey's over now, so that's been kind of nice.
Yeah.
Now we're just doing figure skating and choir. So, yeah.
There we go.
There we go. Well, why don't we dive into the episode then?
All right.
As we were taking a pause and a little hiatus, I was just, I don't know, something triggered a story that relates to you.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, we should talk about that on the episode.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Okay.
I'm excited.
I'm gonna read a little something and then we'll dive in, okay?
Okay. Love it.
All right. This is from the subreddit 23andMe. And the title is, I found out I have a half sister. I'm now freaking out.
Huh.
I just got my results back and I found out that I have a half sister apparently. My background is my parents have been married for 38 years and are still married. I am 34 and I have an older brother who is 38. We are a basic suburban family. Either my parents don't know one of them has a kid, my mom cheated while pregnant, or my dad cheated or has this kid before he was married to my mom. Holy fuck, I just can't process this. Any advice? I don't want to cause serious family drama, but I'm having an identity crisis. I just wanted to know how Scottish I was. I never expected this shit. Spoiler, I'm 0% Scottish, and I thought that would be the biggest drama out of all this test. LOL.
Nice.
So you know exactly why I picked this story.
I do.
So you may have some advice for this person, and we're going to circle back actually to the advice portion. I'm not going to ask you for your advice yet because I want our lovely friends to know why I picked this story and why you are qualified as a human being to give some perspective to this person. So,
Okay.
Yes, tell me your story, Matt.
All right.
So maybe you should first tell everybody about your relationship with your dad.
Okay.
Maybe sum that up, kind of, to ease into this story.
Sure. Oh boy, this is deep. Me and my dad have a relationship to the degree that I would see him when I was younger, in my very young years, would see him, sporadically here and there, and he was around.
Mm-hmm. Living in the same town.
Yeah. But not, right?
Right.
And then as I got older, it became birthdays and Christmas until it was like probably, from my recollection, up until the point he got married, which I would have been about 4 or 5. And I was in his wedding, so I had to have been about 4. And then right around the age of like 16, he was back, and him and his new wife, not from the previous relationship, came and took me out for my 16th birthday for dinner. We went out to seafood. It was great. And then since I've been 16, it's been about at least once, maybe twice a year, holidays, maybe Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthday in April.
Yeah, that you'd see each other. Your mom and your dad were never married, and so it was like you saw him a little more when you were younger. But you're not super close, you would say, but
right,
you know him.
Yeah, and he never had any other children with any of his other wives. My dad got divorced again. He had a third wife, and they never had any children. Same thing as far as frequency of visits. Not that we get along and everything. There's no bad blood or anything like that, but it is what it is. And now he got divorced from that third wife, and he's maybe going to have a fourth here sometime in the near future. Who knows?
Yeah.
But the reason why I'm qualified to answer this question now is I, at one point during one of those very infrequent visits with my dad while I was in school, I must have been 26-ish, probably about 26. We're ballparking it.
Yeah. I feel like this happened when I was in Florida-ish, like a lot of the events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my dad does like the occasional drink or a lot of drinks at once, and kind of had asked me, "Hey, how's your sister?"
Yeah, he maybe overindulged on the one occasion that you went over to see him.
And I was like, "Oh, Morgan? Yeah, she's fine. She's at the main university in the cities, going to school."
Yeah.
He's like, "Who?" I'm like, "My sister, Morgan. She's fine." "No, not that sister. Your sister Donna." I was like, "Who?"
"What?"
He's like, "Yeah, your sister Donna. Donna, blah, 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 blah."
Last name.
And I was like, "Nope, that doesn't ring a bell." He's like, it was a one-night stand, whatever." I was like, "Oh, all right. That's news to me."
And did you believe him? Or were you just like in shock? Like he just came out and was like, "Hey, you've got a sister." Except he didn't really tell you you had a sister. He assumed that you knew that you had a sister. That
Correct.
that he just never told you about.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, I mean, all right.
All right. So you just kind of left it at that. And then what did you do?
I went out to Facebook and typed in Donna, last name.
Searched her. Yep.
And sure enough, there's this person. And I was like, I pondered it for a little bit. I'm like, fuck it. Friend request.
Because this person lived like in a very nearby town also.
Across the bridge, about 10 miles away.
Right.
Yeah. And the following day, in my message box or Facebook, however they had it at that time, was, hey, so you're my brother. And I don't remember the exact wording of it. But yeah, it turns out that Donna knew about me her entire life. And yeah, had a picture of me and my dad.
Oh, wow.
That was given to her at some point. And yeah, I never knew that for 26, 27 years.
So,
and
yeah, what did you reply back to that message?
I don't remember exactly. Maybe I could go back and find it, but it was something along the lines of Dad had just told me, I had no idea you existed. And she was under the impression that I had known about her, or had not wanted any sort of relationship or anything like that. So that is why that's why she never reached out to me.
Right.
And for whatever reason, we kind of messaged back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just fizzled off. Nothing ever became of it. We never got together. We never had a phone call. And I'm pretty sure it was maybe close to a year had passed. And
I mean, that knowledge was still really fresh and new to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that point in my life, I don't know. It was just,
I'm sure you just didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, I wasn't out searching for anything, and I didn't know if I wanted to have a relationship, not have a relationship. It wasn't.
Right.
It just wasn't important to me at that point in time. So I never pursued anything, and I just left the messages be. And we only had messaged that first initial day 2 or 3 times back and forth. Oh, yep, confirmed, boom. So I was at work one day about a year later, and I was in the subway line in the skywalk and could hear somebody behind me. Oh my gosh, Ryan. And he's Donna. It's oh, huh.
Because you stalked her and you found out that she was dating someone named Ryan, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I turned around and I was like,
stalked her on Facebook. Not sorry.
Matt here, stalker.
No, not, yeah. Just got to clarify that. Of course you you peruse their profile and learn a little bit about them. Okay. Sorry. Continue. I interrupted.
No, that's all right. That was fun. So anyways, I turned around. I'm like, I think that's them. I'm pretty sure that's them. I'm not sure. I've never seen this person in real life. I'm not sure. So we went down the subway line, and I think they had noticed that I had turned around and looked at them oddly. They got kind of quiet, whatever, made my way, paid for my subway. And I was with my good buddy, Pete. I'm like, hey, let's eat here, snag a table over there. And I turned around. I'm like, excuse me, are you Donna last name? And she's like, yeah. I'm Matt. I'm your brother. I'm going to go grab my subway and I'm going to sit down over at that table if you want to swing by.
Yeah.
And that is how my relationship with my sister was born. She said, okay. And as she walked by, she's like, hey, I just need a couple minutes to compose myself here and
process all of this.
I'll be over in 10 minutes. Yeah. That's cool. We'll be here. And me and Pete, we ate our subway. She came over. She asked, chit-chatted a little bit and asked if hey, would you like to get together?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, all
and
right.
actually get to know each other.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. And you were not here.
Yeah. I feel like I was in Florida or something.
Yeah.
During all of this. Well, every now and then I'm like, whoa, Matt found out that he had a sibling in his mid-20s. And I just think that is wild and a crazy thing. Maybe it's more common than I realize. I don't know. If that's happened to you, let me know. But now, so even more to the story that I think is cool is that how you guys grew from that. Like you guys decided to have your own relationship, and she and Ryan got married, and they invited you to be in their wedding, and you were a groomsman in their wedding.
Usher, I think.
Usher, something. You were in the wedding. Yes, I wasn't there. And even to this day, we have kept a really amazing, lovely relationship with them and their kids, and our kids know each other as cousins, and we need to get together more often. As we always say that,
right? But
whenever we do get together, it's just so much fun all of the time, and the cousins just love each other. The kids love each other so much, and it's so cute and so fun.
Yeah, it's a good time.
So
we have a relationship now, and that could have went, very differently. I could have opted to leave the subway line and just
right. How sad would that have been?
Would have been sad.
I know we wouldn't have them in our lives. That would be sad.
Yeah.
So all because your dad may have had one or too many whiskeys that night you visited. We'll let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
So you are well equipped to find out later on in life that you have a potential sibling. This person found out through 23andMe when they were just looking to be like, how much Scottish am I? So big shock to them.
Right.
Any advice? Any thoughts? Because we do have a little bit of an update.
Well, I think on 23andMe, I'm not entirely sure how it works, but I think you can see how old that individual is. Maybe if they share it. I'm not entirely certain. I've never done it. I don't really have any interest. Who knows how many other half siblings me and Donna would find out we'd have. We don't need that in our life. We're too busy right now. Can't be out there.
Maybe when we're older.
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll see if there's anybody else out there.
So, but you might screw some things up by pursuing this one just because you don't know. I would maybe go to Dad? Is Dad the cool one? I'm not sure here. It asks.
Who's the cool one of the parent?
Hey. So, or maybe you leave mom and dad out of it and you just track this person down via 23andMe. If you can message those individuals, if that's open, I think there is probably a line of communication that you can start, right? If you're open to it, I would imagine. So maybe start there with that person. Hey, I just did this and I see that we are, and find out what they know. And maybe that person knows all about you.
Maybe.
Already.
Right.
Not all about you, but who you are and
that you exist.
You're a real person. Yeah. And it's totally up to you. Maybe you don't want to pursue that relationship. I'm not sure. I had thoughts about it. Like, do I really need this extra person in my life? I'm glad I did, for the record, right?
It worked out really well.
It all worked out. But again, this person has lived a totally, completely different life. They could end up being not your type. It could bring bad juju to your family, and mom and dad are getting divorced after 38 some odd years. I'm not sure.
So you would have all of those thoughts running through your head as well. Like, do I even pursue this? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be completely normal.
Right. And, sometimes at, how old is this individual?
34.
Yeah. At 34, a lot of and maybe I'm off base with this, but I would feel like for us, for instance, at 38, a lot of our friend groups have been established. A lot of our things that we're doing it's hard to work people in. Even the friends that we do have, and even Donna, I wish I could see more.
Yeah.
It's just we're so busy.
And they're so busy. It's sometimes hard to coordinate.
And maybe this other person, I would just think of all the things. I'm like, worst case scenario. Well, what happens if I make contact and then I just ghost them for a year and then I find them out at the subway line? Are they going to hate me after that? Or you never know.
Donna didn't hate you.
No. It all worked out.
All's well that ends well. Well, here's the update.
All
it's a twist that you didn't think of. Okay.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Here's the update. After a lot of sleuthing, I found out I was an anonymous sperm donation baby, and my parents never told me. Still processing, but I'm okay with it. My dad will always be my dad, and this scenario was much better than some alternatives. Thanks all for the comments. So much appreciated.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right? There we go. No infidelity.
Yeah, and so now he can go out harm-free from the mom and dad side of things and reach out to said half siblings.
Yep, if they want.
Maybe more of them.
There might be. I was looking that up a little bit because I was just curious. Because, there's that Netflix special or documentary. I don't think that's what it's called. Is it? No, it's where it was an infertility doctor who, instead of inseminating, I know.
Yeah.
We watched it. Instead of inseminating with anonymous sperm donation babies, he used his own sperm for his patients.
Right.
And so that ended up with a ton of babies. I don't remember how many, but
a lot. Yeah.
That definitely creates problems.
Yeah.
Hold on. What I look up? Did I still have it pulled up?
Is there anybody else that's listening that has had something similar to this happen?
I want to know. I'm so curious.
Yeah, that'd be an awesome write-in or comment on Instagram, YouTube. Let us know.
Okay.
It's way more common than what we think. Google.
Through DNA testing with 23andMe, individuals have discovered they may have more siblings than they initially realized, with some cases finding dozens or even hundreds of half-siblings conceived through the same sperm donor. So, examples of some discoveries. One case involved a woman who discovered she had 29 donor siblings. Another, 65 donor siblings across North America. Yet another discovered she had over 200 siblings from the same sperm donor. There's I'm sure that was quite a surprise to quite a few of them, especially back in the day, that kind of thing was kept very hush-hush and not talked about, like in this family where, they weren't open about the fact that it was a sperm donor baby. Havy's dreaming down there.
Yeah, I think one of the things with that and with the documentary was incest, right? There was half siblings that were in together and finding out they were, I want to say it was hundreds. It was a Netflix documentary called Our Father.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And it's problematic because all of these babies grew up in the same location, basically.
Yep.
And so I didn't know if they were dating their siblings. And so, yeah, we can see how that would be a problem. Okay, so this spurred my thought process.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the legally allowed amount of babies that sperm donations that you can do?
Sure.
And again, Google. In the U.S., there's no legal limit to the number of sperm donations a person can make, although sperm banks and organizations like the American Society for Reproductive Medicine have guidelines recommending limits to avoid potential consanguineous conceptions.
Okay.
So their guidelines suggest limiting a single donor to no more than 25 births, which is still a lot. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. What if we flip it?
Okay.
Flip the scenario. Ready for story number 2?
Found out that you had a different parent? Okay, go on.
No. DNA confirmed that I, 39 male, have a daughter, 18 female. What now? Finding out that you have a child that you never knew existed forever for 18 years. It starts... And yeah, I feel just as you would imagine, but it gets worse. She lives in the US, I'm in Europe. I don't know how to do this and really need advice. So what happened is that months ago, I got a call from a US number. I didn't answer since I don't know anyone there. Then again, the same day, so I answered, ready to yell at some scammer. A girl on the other side introduces herself and just says that she thinks I might be her father. That was the first thing she said. "Hi, my name is Jane, and I think you might be my father." Obviously, I told her I don't have any children and that she has the wrong number. But then she drops a name I haven't heard in, you guessed it, 18 years. Back around that time, I was in the U.S. for a job for a year with our sister parent. Back around that time, I was in the U.S. for a year on a job exchange with our sister company. Met a woman there and we hooked up over maybe a few months. I remember buying condoms after meeting her, but I can't remember if we used them every time. Anyway,
Stay safe out there, kids.
Yeah. I gave her my non-US number, but never heard from her again. The girl on the phone asks me if my name is OP, and I freak and almost hang up on her. She tells me more about her mother, and I just sit there like an idiot. She found my name and number in her mother's diary, and now, as she's turned 18, she wanted to contact me. She lives with her relatives now since her mother is unable to take care of herself for some reason. I still don't know the details there. She asked me if I'd be willing to do an ancestry DNA test and even offered to pay for it. She ends by saying I should think about it and ask if she can call me again. I just say sure, and we hang up. I swear I was about to faint right then and there. The whole conversation lasted only like 5 minutes. It's kind of like the shock that you had in a way with that very brief Facebook messaging that you did with your sister. Hey, I think I'm your brother.
Right.
Yep, pretty sure you are.
Shit.
Well, okay then. Right? Like you need some time to process.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All right, back to the story. Anyway. I ended up taking the test and we talk a few more times. The test took forever, but yesterday she sent me a screenshot of her profile matching 50% to mine. I mean, that's just it, right? We haven't spoken since, just messaged some. I lied and told her I'd been busy and we'll talk later, which now makes me feel like an ass. Up until this point, I've kept it together, holding on to the thought that maybe I'm not the dad. But now I can't deny it. It's probably been half my life since I last cried. I haven't told anyone this. I was kind of hoping the DNA test would come back negative and then I wouldn't have to. How to even break this to my family? I just know they'll all want her number so they can call her and then they would start flying over to see her or bringing her here. They're really pushy like that. My mom is going to freak out. I don't see my family more than a few times a year, but we'll all get together during Easter. Should I do it then with all of them at once or one at a time? I have a picture of Jane, but not much more info than what I've written here. I'm the youngest sibling, and now I suddenly have the oldest of the cousins in the next generation. And I never wanted kids at all. I just don't like them and hate being tied up.
Well, even you got an adult, my friend. You don't have a child.
That's true. He says he even had a vasectomy since then. And that's the easy part. The real problem is what to say to Jane. Can some sane person give an example of what to say? I've promised to call her tomorrow. Has anyone discovered they have an unknown child? If so, what did you do? How did it go? How did you connect? What happened when you first met them? What did your family say? I mean, he's reeling. He's spinning, right? He's spiraling a little bit.
I feel like this is honestly a little easier of a situation, but continue on and then
That's it.
Oh, all right.
Because then there's some edits. I'm going to give you the edits now.
Okay. Because
it's kind of funny. Edit number 1. I apologize for the abomination of text above. I blame the alcohol. That was funny.
Cheers.
I thought he was very coherent. Only spiraled a little bit at the end. Mm-hmm. Number 2. Some seem to have the impression that I and or my family are wealthy. This is not so. I wrote in a comment that knowing my family, they would probably rent a plain and fly her here. That was a joke commenting on what they would want to do, not that they would do it. No, I'm not wealthy either. In the post I wrote, I can probably afford it, but I really don't want to. And I meant that I'd hate to suddenly have something like 10% of my savings left overnight. Just guessing here, no idea what the actual sum would have been. I'm sure anyone here would consider that a factor. Anyway, someone said that the limit is 3 years back. I didn't know that. I don't know what that means. All right. Anyway, number 3. Yes, I've had my number for a long time. I never had a reason to change it. I mean, I've had my phone number since I got it when I was 16.
Yeah, I've had mine since about 14.
Yeah. No reason to change it.
Yeah. Why would you?
I don't know.
I have such a great number.
You do. You do.
Also,
Anyway.
I owe somebody, and they can text me again if they'd like. I owe them a gift card because apparently our good friend Ryan or myself, one of us, whoever set up our Facebook page, just nonchalantly put my phone number on
listed
there.
your phone number on there. Yeah, that's funny.
So if that's you, shoot me a message. We will try to get you either.
Well, that was just really nice of you.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I feel like if there's Too Hot Takes merch that I can snag,
there we go.
I could maybe send you some of that.
I know.
We don't have our own merch yet, but working on it. Maybe.
I mean, someday.
So
there we go.
Thank you.
What's your advice? What do you think he should do?
Okay, so I think it's, in some regard, I think it would be the right answer here is easier because you actually provided some of your DNA to produce this child. As in, where me and Donna's situation, I wasn't responsible for her. She wasn't responsible for me. I didn't owe Donna anything and Donna didn't owe me anything. Right? To some regard, even though this person, Jane, right, is 18, I feel like you still owe her something to some degree. You fathered, right? Would that be the right terminology? You fathered a child.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess if it was me, what I would say, and I'd be honest about my feelings, I really don't know where I'm at in my life in order to maybe incorporate you into everything right away. I would love for you to come out, get to know, like let's get to know each other. Maybe that's the solution. As far as telling your family, hey, everyone, this is as much a surprise to me as it's going to be to you guys. But, there was this girl and one thing led to another. And here we are 18 some odd years later. So I have a daughter and this is my plan of action. This is how I'm going to be moving about. I'm either planning on going there or communicating with her, and we'll see where that leads. And if she would like to come here, I'm going to host Jane out here for a trip or whatever it might be.
So that's what you would do. If this were you, you're putting yourself in his shoes. You've discovered that you have an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that would be my advice to this individual.
Would you pay for them to fly over?
Yeah, I mean,
would you have that person stay in your house?
I don't know. Maybe not.
These are all
I
these
think
little details.
Again, I would work it out with Jane. It doesn't have to be right away either. It can be down the line. You can, hey, let's try to chat once every other week. I know that you have your life. I have my life. We're both busy. If I'm not reaching out enough, like, it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's just, this is a very new piece of unexpected information that has hit me, and I'm processing.
Yeah. So that's how you would handle it.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
You would want to meet her.
I didn't say I'd want to. I'd feel obligated.
Okay, well then there's my question. Would you want to meet her? You have a child. You have someone who has half your DNA. Would you personally, not saying that he needs to one way or the other, Now, this is just like putting the situation on you. Would you want to?
That really screw up our life right now.
So you wouldn't?
I'm kidding. Jokes, people, jokes.
I would.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, if I had an unknown child out there.
Right.
And that's a little harder for,
Yeah.
for me.
Get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would. I'd be open to it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think for me, if, again, positions were swapped and it was possible that I had an unknown child that I just never knew about ever existed.
Right.
I think I'm too curious to ever just let that go. I'd want to know what they're like and if they have my nose or something like that. Yeah. I think I would for sure want to.
Who knows what kind of psychopath you'd let into our lives?
Yeah. The best kind, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Being half me.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay. So here were some of my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he should sit down and write down his thoughts, feelings about the situation and come up with somewhere where he's comfortable. This is my ideal situation, my ideal scenario. We know she exists. Now that I have this information, what would I want to be no contact? Would I want to have a relationship? What would that relationship in the ideal situation and ideal scenario be for me?
Mm-hmm.
And think about that independent of what everybody else is thinking and feeling.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to have an opinion, especially once you bring it to your family. Everybody, like he's saying,
I agree.
Everybody's going to have an opinion. But what matters most is how he feels because he's the one in it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So then once he has that kind of situated, he doesn't need to share that right away. But then I think he needs to ask her, hey, daughter who is 18, who is an adult. I mean, you did kind of bring it up during the story. Lucky for him, he doesn't like kids. Well, she's an adult. She could be a super cool adult and you might just love her because she's super amazing. You skip the kid phase, maybe it's the best way to be a dad for him. Anyway, I digress.
Mm-hmm.
Then get on the phone and ask her, okay, now that we know each other exist, what do you want? Do you know what you want from this situation? What is your ideal relationship look like? Just so he has that knowledge of where she is coming from. He knows where he's coming from. Maybe it lines up beautifully. Maybe there's some give and take that you might need to work through, right? And kind of then perhaps develop an initial plan. It's life. It's going to evolve and change. Again, maybe you're just FaceTiming here and there and you really click and there you've got a lot of mutual interests and it's a really beautiful relationship that comes out of it. Kind of like you and Donna. You guys had a lot in common. You enjoyed each other and decided to continue to be important people in each other's lives. Maybe that's going to come out of it or maybe not, right? But then at least you have that initial plan to start from. And then my opinion would be, I would be somebody who'd, want to rip the Band-Aid off. Everybody's getting together at Easter. I don't want to retell this story 10 million times. Hey guys, here's what happened. Here's what's going on. I've talked with her. This is where we're comfortable. So that if they do want to all call her and talk with her and fly her out, what she's comfortable with too. So you can be like, I think that's either she feels like that's a bit much or, she would really love to have a group chat right now, whatever.
Right.
So that's what I think that he should do.
I agree.
All right. Should we go to the comments and see what everybody else thought?
Yeah. And then we should talk about 23andMe.
Oh, sure. Top comment. My husband found out he had a grown daughter from way back before we met. It all turned out great. She's wonderful. Her husband is too. And our family just got a bit bigger with more people to love. I mean, your heart just grows, right? There's no limit to that.
Yeah.
The hardest parts of raising a kid is over for Jane. All she wants is to know her father. You're not obligated, of course. But what would be the downside? She doesn't need a kidney, does she?
Yeah, you're not obligated, but it's the right thing to do. Even if you're not interested, you should at least give Jane kind of what she's looking for. If that means trying to figure out where she comes from or soul searching.
You shouldn't ghost her. That would be the wrong
thing. We don't know what happened to Mom. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's so we
know. Yeah, we know that
something bad's going on.
Yeah, she might be looking for a little bit of something. Another comment. Several years ago, my dad, the oldest, and his siblings got contacted by someone who thought she might be their sister. Apparently, way back in the dark ages, my grandmother had gotten pregnant and gave her up for adoption. DNA aside, she looks just like my grandmother, no doubt. She's been out to visit them. They've been back east to visit her. Just made the family a bit bigger.
Yeah. See, it's all going to be fine.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of people who have replied and said, similar situation, turned out great, good luck. Yeah. All right. And then one update then from him is we had our first video call today and it was a long conversation. I had a list of things to bring up, mostly from suggestions here. So ever so thankful for that. Most of it was quite personal for both of us, so I won't write it. But it boils down to that we both want to continue to stay in touch and get to know each other. We also want to meet at some point, even if we don't know when yet. Her family knows of me, and they will join a call in the future so I can speak to them as well. I will hold off on telling my family for a while, but I will probably tell them one at a time.
There you go.
So there it was.
Boom.
Nice.
Yeah, that's good.
I know. Now I want another update. Okay, 23andMe, what do you think? What's going on? Wasn't there like some data breach or they're selling something or?
Well, there was a data breach. Yeah. That was a while ago, over a year ago, I believe. But they just recently, I think in March, they filed for bankruptcy. They're done. And they got permission via Supreme Court somewhere along the lines that they can sell all the DNA that they collected. That they do not have to like destroy it. They can just bloop, to the highest bidder, can sell it out. So that brings up the question, like, where is that DNA going to go? What is it going to be used for?
That feels, that feels like that shouldn't have passed go.
Somewhere in the disclaimer that people are signing out there. It's in there. So
it's in there, huh?
It's gone.
Ooh.
Or it will be gone.
I mean, maybe it's fine. Maybe nothing is going to happen, but like
23andMe was a big one too, right? Is there still Ancestry.com? Is that still a thing? I don't know how it all works, but
I'm not sure.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with this. And
I wonder if there's identifying information, like is it all, like is whoever's buying this genetic material, do they also get the rights to know like the person that it belongs to, right? Like identifiers on that?
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. If it's used for simple marketing purposes, like you can see that I'm going to have Alzheimer's, please start marketing me fish oil and all the things that's going to save my life and spend money on. I want all the things. But
yeah, I wonder how much
Alzheimer's and you're going to kill me for something.
Well,
then I don't need that government.
I don't want to start any conspiracy theories because I try not to be
jokes,
anything like that. But my concern in political climates of change is, well, what if insurance companies get a hold of information and they can run tests and discover things like medical things about you and then choose not to cover you for insurance? Is that a possibility?
You can profile.
Maybe it's not a possibility. I don't know. I don't know.
You could then start profiling that family. You could give within insurance databases, you could profile them as higher risk. yeah, it gets it's a slippery slope.
I did hear that there's like a way where you can say, hey, you can like opt out of it, right? Like you can say, I don't want my personal information, blah, blah, blah.
I don't think so.
No, I think that there might have been. I feel like I read about it somewhere.
Okay.
Because I feel like...
We'll give you 30 seconds. You can look it up.
Aha. I Googled it. So it's apparently all I'm doing tonight. I hope these are reputable sources. Okay.
Well, it's Google AI. It's gotta be.
Yes, Google AI says to opt out of 23andMe research and potentially delete your data. Log into your account, go to settings, find 23andMe data, and click view to access options for deleting your data and revoking research consent. So apparently you can revoke research consent. So if you want to, just Google it and it pulls it up immediately and it tells you step by step exactly how to do it on your account. So give that a try. And again, maybe it's fine. Who are we to know any of that? We are not experts on what's going to happen, and I don't want to spread conspiracy theories.
Actually, I'm a time traveler, and I know.
Okay. All right. Or you can believe Matt that he knows. All right. I have two more stories.
Right.
I was really keeping on theme here. This third one is very much on theme, right? The last one is a little bit on theme, a little bit diverting from the theme, but was so juicy that I just couldn't.
I like the juice.
I had to include it, and it's it might be a little controversial. I don't know.
Okay, let's hear it. I'm ready.
Third one, on theme, which is also good. Would I be the asshole for doing a 23andMe test? And now, granted, of course, this is 1 year ago, right, where they were not bankrupt. For doing a test, knowing this might reveal my secret existence to my bio mom side of the family. Sorry, this title sounds so dramatic. In reality, it's more just complicated. So I, 32 female, was adopted as a baby. It was supposed to be a closed adoption, but my biological parents' names were visible on the paperwork that came from the hospital/adoption agency. I was able to track down my bio mom about 10 years ago. We exchanged a few emails and talked on the phone, and she sent me photos of my bio siblings who were not placed for adoption. I expressed interest in meeting my bio siblings, and my bio mom said she was sure they'd like to meet me also, but she needed time to break the news of my existence to them because she felt some type of way about having kept it a secret for 20 plus years. As I said, that was about 10 years ago. Bio mom never reached out again to let me know she'd told the rest of the family about me, nor did I hear from any of them, so I assume my existence is still a secret. And when I did try sending her an email about something unrelated, it was actually a medical history question. At one point after that, I never got a response. So my read is that she's not interested in further contact with me, which is understandable and more than fine. But on the other side of the coin, I was never able to find my bio dad, although I did try for a while. I've recently been considering submitting my DNA to 23andMe on the chance that maybe I can find him or family members on his side. And also, I'd just like to know more about my ethnicity and heritage. But I know that if I do so and anyone on my bio mom side has submitted DNA or does in the future, they'll see that I exist. I've respected my bio mom's wishes not to reach out directly to my bio siblings, even though I do have their contact information, and I can't shake the feeling that doing 23andMe is just a sneaky way of circumventing that and acting all innocent. It feels kind of crappy and like it would be a betrayal. I considered trying to send my bio mom a heads up that I was planning to submit my DNA, but since our interaction ended with her ghosting me, I worry that that sounds like a threat or an ultimatum. So would I be the asshole if I submitted to 23andMe, and or should I try to warn my bio mom first?
Let her rip. You don't know the... I almost went rogue there. You don't owe her anything. You're allowed to do 23andMe. It is a real thing. If you want to learn more about yourself and where you come from, that's up to you. Go and do it. Again, I don't think you owe her anything, and I think you should. And yeah, I know closed adoption is a thing, and your parents should have been more careful with that paperwork, maybe. I'm not sure.
Well, either way, then you would be in a very similar boat. You would, except you probably wouldn't have any qualms about doing 23andMe if you didn't know her.
Exactly. So just do it. It would be, there's no difference. Like, what if one of those other individuals has done 23andMe and I don't know, just do it. This seems, I get it, but yeah, and maybe they do all find out and it ruins a potential relationship that you might have with biomom, even though you haven't talked in 10 years. Or maybe your other half siblings out there in the world find out about you and it all turns out great. And then you end up having a relationship with biomom. I mean, you just don't know.
Or
right?
even just the siblings. And maybe the siblings would want to know about you and would want a relationship with you, but they have no way of knowing otherwise. So, because, if they weren't informed. And if they do know about her, like if biomom did spread the news and they just choose not to, they say, nope, we aren't interested in a relationship. There's no reason that they would need to reach out. Right. If they also, by chance, did the 23andMe thing. So I am in line with you. I think that if she wants to learn more about where she comes from, her heritage, her father's side, potentially have that as a resource for her finding family on her dad's side, then go for it. Why not?
Right.
And I agree that she doesn't, although her birth mom seems to have decided not to inform her family about her, I don't think that she owes it to her to change the way that, like, she doesn't owe her not doing 23andMe, right?
Right.
Like, I think that it's respectful to kind of respect her wishes and not reach out directly to them or whatnot. Like, I have never done 23andMe. You've never done it.
There's a good chance that her siblings have it and she finds out nothing.
Right. So, and she just finds out that she's 0% Scottish. I mean, right?
There you go.
Okay. So, very interestingly, the overall vote on this was asshole.
That seems odd to me.
Right? Okay.
What is their reasoning?
World, what? Yeah. What do we have wrong here? Is it?
I don't know.
Okay.
This seems odd to me. Is it because that I don't know. Like she knows and now she's like, I'm going to find out.
Well, I just feel like she's overthinking it. Like she's gone through every single scenario.
Yeah, I just really
can't. Brain.
I really can't put her as the asshole. It's her.
I just can't either. Okay, here's the top comment though. Donor conceived person here. My take is a little different from other folks. I would proceed with extreme caution and understand that your bio dad might not want his entire family informed before he has a chance to decide what he wants. I know because I did exactly that and blew my shot at ever getting to know him. Practically, this means changing your privacy settings to relative matches off before you send the test. When the results come in, turn that setting to on and take screenshots of all your matches to fourth cousin. Do that as fast as you can and then turn it off and log out. Log in with a newly opened browser to confirm the relative matches are truly off. Do all your research with the screenshots. Only turn it on for brief moments. When 23andMe emails come once a month with new matches. Do not message relatives with questions about bio dad or anything else without his consent. Once you find your dad, you can gain consent to turn it on from bio parents. In my opinion, you would be the asshole if you don't take precautions. But more importantly, you might miss out on knowing your bio dad at all. Okay, that's very interesting.
I mean, there is always the chance, right? It was just like me reaching out to Donna. Donna could have told me to pound sand. Go fuck off. I don't need a half brother that I've never known. Same thing. I could have, I didn't need, if I didn't need Donna, right? I could have decided like, I'm never going to reach out to this girl. Why? Like, there's the possibility of that happening with any relative that you find out about through happenstance.
I also kind of think that if they are putting their genetic material out on 23andMe, that's basically consent for relatives, like for them to be discoverable.
Right, because they also
as a relative.
They also have the option,
right,
to turn off biological matches. And especially if bio dad knows that he gave a child up for adoption,
then he has that choice not to do 23. I mean, I suppose maybe if it's like...
You can still do 23andMe, just not turn on matching.
And maybe if it's like you have an uncle, right? Maybe don't message the uncle and say... Maybe that's more of where it's coming from, where like the uncle could find out the secret. But again, it's kind of not her responsibility.
Yeah, it's a risk that you take.
Right?
If you reach out to a family member that you've never met, they might turn out to be an asshole.
I mean, yeah,
simple as that.
It's a risk, yeah. But I do think like if this person is really concerned about that, like that would be a good option. If she wants to know more about herself, turn it off, turn it on. Seems like a reasonable thing to do. I didn't know that you could do that.
There we go.
Also, another person, I just want to say that you are your own human and you are allowed to exist. I like this person, this comment.
Yeah.
If anybody takes issue with that, they aren't likely even somebody you want to have in your life. At this point, if your bio parents' families don't know about you, that's on them, not you. And if they've never reached out or given any indication that they care, then I'm not sure that you should care. I mean, I think that's kind of, in a way, it's again, releasing that person of that responsibility. Yeah. Like, you're not responsible for anybody else's feelings. It's not your job to protect everybody else.
Right. I guess I would say this. If it was me and I knew that I had siblings and I wanted to meet them, and my bio mom decided, I had expressed interest and you had those initial conversations and then she ghosted you. Yeah, I'm good. We can remove bio mom, but I'm still going to go and reach out to siblings.
It's your life. It's your life.
What's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to not like you, hate you for...
Well, this person said,
drama
if you approach it in the wrong way, you could...
Sure. Again, that could
miss
happen.
Your opportunity.
And then what'd you blow? Nothing. You lost out on nothing that you didn't previously have before.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Just my take, but...
Okay. So in response to the top comment, this poster's advice is good, but they're off on the you would be the asshole judgment. So they disagree. This was not clear cut, apparently.
Complex.
There's some people that are like, yeah, you would be. And this person is saying, no, you wouldn't be. Because even if you didn't take his precautions, none of this is on you or your fault. You don't owe your bio parents privacy, keeping their secrets, or anything else. That's completely on them. Likewise with your bio siblings that you have contact info for. If your bio mom is ghosting and not responding to your emails, you would not be the asshole for reaching out to them directly. So they agree with you. Yeah, but overall vote was the asshole. So yeah. I think that there's...
There we go.
There's some disagreement on that one.
So many unknown relatives out there in the world. Who knows how many you have?
I mean, it's possible. I think, so my mom did one of these. I don't know if it was 23andMe. I should probably ask her. But her opinion has always been, well, I'm old, so it's probably less risky for me to put my genetic material out there. Probably. And I don't know. Sure. Anyway, that's what she said, not me. So she was curious because she has always known that her dad, her biological dad, had affairs. And so she was curious to see if there was any other kids out there. And nothing so far apparently has resulted from that. But
maybe she should check back in.
I know. I don't know when the last time she did check back in. But
interesting. Well.
Yeah. Are you ready for the complex, juicy last story of the night? Am I the asshole for disowning my adoptive son since he chose, quote, his people over us?
Yikes.
Don't want to do it?
No, do it.
Okay.
You can't lead us on like that.
I mean, it's juicy.
Better be.
All right, here we go. I know the title is a bit weird, but this was the best way I found to translate what was said. Obligatory apologies for bad grammar and or spelling. English is not my first language. I'm a 44-year-old male. My husband is a 40-year-old male, and we've been married 20 years, together for 22. Our adoptive son is a 24-year-old male. He's black and we're not. I'm only mentioning this because it's relevant to the story later. This does not take place in the U.S.
So it's already pretty complex, right?
It's already pretty complex, hot topic, and we're probably not the best people to speak on this, but we'll try. Okay, let me give a little bit of background to the situation. About 19 years ago, me and my husband had been driving on a highway back from a small vacation when along a particularly long stretch of road, absolutely no buildings around, only a ton of grass and hills as far as the eye could see, we spotted a little boy just sitting by the side of the road. Like I mentioned, there was nothing around for miles and no cars.
So they stole him?
Just wait. There was nothing around for miles and no cars close to where the boy was, so we decided to stop and see if everything was okay. When we got closer to the boy, let's call him Jason, it was very easy to see that he was dirty and malnourished since the only thing he had on were some diapers. He was so small, it didn't look like he could be older than 3, and later we found out he was actually 5. We asked him why he was alone, and he told us that Mommy and Daddy put him here and told him to wait. There was no cell signal in the area, so we did the sensible thing and did not steal him, but brought him back to town to the nearest police station.
They stole him.
They did not.
I'm kidding. Okay. Jokes.
To make a long story short, CPS was called. We discovered his parents were some druggies that were on the road from a felony. The only other relative Jason had was his grandmother, who was very mentally ill and couldn't take care of him, and we felt bad. He went into foster care soon after, but we kept in touch with him and his caseworker. I had and still do have an extremely well-paying job and could easily afford a decent lifestyle for a small family. So after a few months of discussions between ourselves, the caseworker, and some bureaucracy, we formally adopted Jason. Now on to the situation. About 3 years ago, Jason's parents were released from prison on parole. They contacted him not long after in hopes of reconnecting. Prior to that, they'd sent him a few odd letters here or there, but nothing really substantial. At first, he was hesitant to talk to them, but ended up caving and meeting them for lunch one day. I'll admit that a part of me was a bit jealous and apprehensive of what could happen, but I could see that it really was something that my son wanted to do. So, for his sake, I swallowed those and supported him through it. It wasn't very long, about 3 months, I think, that he started to pull away from us. At first, I chalked it up to him being excited to actually talk to his bio parents after so long, talk about what had been going on in his life, spend some time with them, etc. It started to bother me when he'd cancel plans with us at the last minute because, quote, Mom had an emergency, or, quote, Dad really needs me to help him with something today, or whatever the other excuse he could come up with. He used to come over to our house at least once a week, call every day or so, but now we were lucky if he came by that month. Again, I thought it was just temporary, that he was just excited, and soon enough he'd start spending some time with us again. We were overjoyed when he invited us over to dinner one night. It was supposed to be a family gathering, us and his bio parents and his wife, girlfriend at the time. I wasn't exactly keen on meeting the people that had left my son for dead on the side of the road, but decided to give them the benefit of the doubt, thinking maybe they'd atoned and changed. Besides, he's our son and we love him. We had to at least try. To say that dinner was a disaster is an understatement. His bio mom was extremely rude to me and my husband the entire night, making passive-aggressive, homophobic, and racist remarks every chance she got. His father was much the same. It all came to a head when she straight up called us the F word and threw a glass at my husband. A screaming match followed, and we left soon after. The next day, Jason apologized profusely and promised they'd never do something like that again. I told him neither me or my husband wanted to have anything to do with them and would appreciate if he understood that. He seemed to, but continued to pull away the next few months. And that leads to what happened last week. Jason proposed to his girlfriend about 9 months back and has been preparing for the wedding ever since. Of course, we were overjoyed for him, but a few months went by and no invitation came. Every time we asked Jason, he would say that they haven't been sent out yet and change the subject. Well, last week, my husband saw a Twitter post from one of Jason's friends, his groomsmen, that went out with the invitation in hand. We confronted Jason about it, and the next time he came over, only for him to drop the bomb on us that we were not invited. We asked why, and he said his parents didn't want us there and wouldn't come if we did. I was fucking furious. I asked him, how could he choose those pieces of trash over us? Why were they so important? What did we do to deserve this kind of treatment? His answer was, they understand me better. They're my people. At this point, my husband was crying, asking, how could he do this? I've only ever been truly angry a few times in my life, and this moment managed to top all of them. I threw him out right then and there and told him to never come back, that he wasn't our son anymore. I spent the rest of the day hugging my husband and trying to calm him down. The next day, I canceled everything we'd paid for the wedding, which was basically everything important, even the ones that we couldn't get a refund on. Of course, Jason had the gall to call and scream at me, asking how could I do that to him? Where would he find replacements for a wedding that was supposed to happen only a few months from now? I told him I didn't give a shit and said, maybe you should ask those 2 leeches you call parents for some help. 19 years. 19 fucking years of my goddamn life spent raising and loving a kid that I considered my own son, only to be treated like garbage. Giving blood, sweat, and tears so he would have a good life, all the love we could possibly give, and that's what we get as a reward. As for why I'm asking if I'm the asshole, Some people have been calling and messaging us, mostly Jason's friends and a few of our family members, calling us heartless and monsters for doing what we did to him. And that's honestly got me questioning if I went a bit too far in anger. After all, parents are supposed to love unconditionally, right? But if so, how do we ever get over something like this? How can we deal with this feeling of betrayal? Are we justified in feeling like that? So, am I the asshole?
19 years. He was 5 at the time, 24. Doesn't seem like is it the frontal cortex? Frontal lobe?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't quite developed quite
well,
yet.
It's developed by age 25 generally. Okay. I think this
that was
is
a joke. Jokes.
Super complex situation. I'm sorry to kind of throw it at you guys, but I mean, I also was like, whoa, I was thrown.
OP probably shouldn't have said, never come back. You're not our son anymore.
Yeah. 100% agree. That was out of line. Nope. Never should have done that.
Never should do that as a parent.
He is your son. You adopted him. You've raised him for 19 years. Like, that should never be in your vocabulary, that you denounce your child. Ever.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't know. I just think...
should I ask you some questions?
Why would you pay for anything for the wedding if you are not going to the wedding?
Yes.
Also,
okay, so that's a good place to start.
Why would the son, Jason, expect, hey, you guys aren't invited, but I want your money for this event that I'm going to invite everybody else to? That seems ridiculous. And I don't know, Jason's kind of just making some bad moves, in my opinion. It's great that he wants to get to know his biological parents and who they are, where he comes from. Mm-hmm. Great that he wants to build a relationship. Some of the things we've heard about bio parents, are they really the greatest role models or upstanding citizens in the world?
They can be.
They could be.
Yeah.
But they probably shouldn't go around calling people fats either.
Okay, so yes, not that they are the bio parents. Like because I know you, I understand where you're coming from. Don't come for Matt. He's saying those particular people don't seem like good people for calling, right?
Yeah. What did I say?
It could have been interpreted that you're like, well, bio parents in generally might not be the best people. Like that has no relation or standing on it.
I'm so confused, but these individuals...
That's not what he meant. I hear what you might have heard, but that's not what he was saying. He was saying that
don't know
in
what
this... It's okay.
Good.
I've got you. I know you.
Okay.
Yeah. You're saying that these two particular people, in the way that they have been acting and conducting themselves, don't seem like the best role models, citizens, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody should be...
They also threw a glass at somebody.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know where I'm out of line here, people, but all I'm saying is it seems that Jason is searching for something, and he's going about it probably in all the wrong ways.
And I don't necessarily agree with he's going about it in all the wrong ways. I understand where he's like wanting to know about his bio parents, and he's wanting to get to know them, and perhaps they have a completely different lifestyle, and perhaps maybe it's glamorous, or maybe it's freeing. Maybe, a lot of times, what if he was raised in a strict way and they have no rules or whatever, and he's opening his eyes up to a new way of living and being, and also they brought up the whole, and of course, please, people of the world, okay, we are not the best people to give our takes on this, but if you are adopted into someone of a different race and you meet your family, your bio family, and you have that first sense of community perhaps in that.
Sure.
And maybe that's something that you have felt like you've been missing the entire time. You probably grew up, with...
it's probably very different.
It's probably very different, very complex. You've got so many different facets of your feelings that that you're presumably white. I don't know. Parents, because they pointed out that he was black. They didn't say what they are. That they can never understand, right?
Right.
Like they probably grew up with a privilege that you didn't. So like, although they love you, and I could see where you would be wanting to find that community and find the people that understand you. And maybe for the first time, you're like, hey, these are the experiences that I had growing up, and my dads couldn't relate to me on this, but maybe they are relating to them. So I can see where that would be coming from, right?
All right. You're so good.
I'm sure not even good enough. I'm sure that my brain just doesn't even, I can't understand because I haven't walked in those shoes, right? So I can understand that. It does sound like bio parents are perhaps a little rough around the edges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Threw a glass at his parents for the very first time ever meeting his dads and called them slurs. I can understand that they would never want to get to know or see them again. However, they have unknowingly put him in the middle of this.
Yeah.
Right? So they are like, we never want to see your bio parents again, ever. Like they acted so, right? Like then he is having to choose sides and he's having to be the middleman instead of taking a step back. Yep, those they are very offensive, and they are not who we would have hoped that our son's bio parents would be. And this did not go as planned.
Right.
But you can acknowledge that that's not who your son is. That wasn't your son's choices. Your son didn't call you slurs and throw a glass at you, right? And you can still extend that understanding and that love and hope to him. Because ultimately, in that interaction, you made him choose.
That's all good points.
So I think because this is so complex, the only way forward is for you to go to individual therapy to figure it out. You burned some bridges with you denouncing your son, basically. Like you should never, ever, ever, ever do that as a parent.
Call your son, apologize, tell him how you're feeling, why you're upset, and move forward. If you're not invited to the wedding.
Now I also do...
But
I also do understand the point of, okay, you're why would you pay for a wedding that you're not even invited to? I get that. And so I would have that conversation instead of like, hey, let's sit down. Mm-hmm. I know we said we were going to pay for all this, but we really wanted to be there. Like, what can we do so that we can make that happen? Or, I just don't feel comfortable paying for a wedding that I'm not going to. Like, instead of calling all the vendors first, I would have called Jason first.
Yeah. Like, hey, you're our son.
Yeah.
We raised you. We love you. We want to be there. We want to support you, but.
Right. And it's a little petty to cancel the things that you can't get refunds for.
True.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's probably not perfect. You guys probably are way more insightful on that one.
Yeah, again, let us know.
Please let me know. Well, the top comment was, forget everything else. Why would you pay for a wedding you aren't invited to?
Nailed it.
That was the top comment. I thought he was the asshole, mostly. The internet said he was not the asshole. We apparently are not voting right with the stories today, but we want to hear what you think. Also, thank you for hanging out with us, and again, for sticking with us through our little hiatus. We really appreciate that.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you, and please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. We appreciate you.
Bye.